What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday evening. If you're watching on Wednesday, happy Wednesday to you. We are coming on about 8 minutes late for tonight's show because you guys all know I'm a diehard Habs fan. Got the hat going. Come from behind victory, win it in overtime. You got to let me watch the game, the end of the game, before we go live and get ready to talk about the next day's game. So that's where we were. We were watching the Habs game. We were watching Cole Caulfield win it for them in overtime. Also, speaking of overtime, the Washington Capitals get it done for us for a client play. So nice to see that one as well. Tough prop night, though, overall for clients. Not really a great one. Hopefully bounce back tomorrow with that one. First period, Toronto Maple Leafs minus a half goal. We gave that out on Monday night on the pre-scout. So, guys, make sure you're tuning in every single weeknight at 10 p.m. Eastern as we are live, taking questions, going over games, and looking at the next day's slate. Now, we're going to look at the Wednesday card. And, of course, the Wednesday card is a little bit smaller than Tuesday's card, of course, but we'll make it work. We'll make do, and we'll try and find the best ways we can to get the job done and find ourselves in the winning column here. Guys, it's been a pretty good start to the NHL season. You know, we're making the right reads. We're finding the spots. We're betting on teams in good positions. So with the props, it's going to be some variance up and down, but super excited about this start we have had to the season. And I think that, honestly, doing the pre-scout, doing this show at night, doing puck time during the day is super helpful. But I'll tell you what, guys, I mean, it's not all great because there's some frustrations. And here's an example. You guys know I'm a Canadiens fan. You guys know that I'm following the team. And because it was a home matchup, I decided to take Demidov over 1.5 shots on goal. Figured he'd get more chances. Well, he definitely got more chances, except for he got an assist and he got a goal, but he only got one shot on goal. So it's tough. You know, I decide not to give him out to get a point, decide not to bet him to get a point, and I take the shot prop. He only gets one shot, but he has one hell of a game. So that stuff can be really frustrating. What else is new? I want to always be transparent with you guys as well and talk about the struggles as well as the success we're having. What else? Oh, yeah. That the quote unquote system play with the first period over. I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, we pretty much only had an example of that with one team so far, and that one team has not done a good job for it. I do think that maybe that quote unquote system and that kind of situation might be the most applicable for us to look at when it's later in the season, maybe, you know, not at the start of the season. But you guys know where I'm going with this. The New York Rangers, unbelievable. They have now gone 3 straight games at home without scoring a single goal. So they didn't really need much to get the win, the Edmonton Oilers. And with that being the case, I only went, I think, 1 for 3 with player props in that game. So that one's a bit tough, but we'll move on. Maybe it was 1 for 2, but either way, that can be frustrating. And we also had the first period over for a really small bet. So we'll be staying off any overs for the time being for the New York Rangers. But I'll tell you what, guys, once they start scoring, then that's when you want to hop on it. You kind of realize these trends, and maybe that's just how it goes. Is like, okay, the Rangers aren't scoring right now. They're not scoring at home. But once they do start scoring at home, then we'll pick it up. Then we'll start jumping on them. But so that one's kind of a tough one. And maybe that was me being undisciplined and backing a team to get goals in the first period that just isn't scoring. But I really thought they would snap out of it and we'd see goals in a game early, especially against like a team like the Edmonton Oilers. But we did not see that. But guys, let's move on to the Wednesday slate, a handful of games. Really quick, though, we got Jimbo in here on YouTube. What a Habs game. Figured you were biting your nails for that game. I had Washington money line today and a small bet on Anaheim tonight. Let's go. Awesome stuff, Jimbo. I had Washington as well. Was cheering on Montreal as a fan besides that prop bet that I had. And Anaheim tonight as well versus Pittsburgh. Best of luck with that one. Shout out to Kevin as well. All right, guys. So looking at the games for tomorrow, Senators versus the Sabres. Brady Tkachuk out a month. I mean, first and foremost, that is just like horrible for that team. Like, I feel awful for Brady Tkachuk. He's such a great player. He's a great captain. And I'm not 1,000% sure on it, but it pretty much looks like it. I mean, that injury came from a scuffle. The injury came from him shoving people around. It came from Roman Yossi and him having a back and forth. It's tough to see an injury happen that way, but that's really what happened. And it's tough for him because he really is the heart and soul of that team. The tough part is that he really is at his core, a tough player that likes to get in the mix, that scores goals the dirty ways and the nice ways. And between whistles, he will push guys around. So it's tough for him because, nobody wants the star player of any team to get injured, but they also want him to still be himself. So it's tough to see, kind of the way he got injured there. He's going to be out for 1 month. Being out for 1 month is really tough there, guys. So the lineup is going to set up as it's going to be Batherson, who's now back in the lineup, which is good to see. Here, I'll bring it up for you guys so we can all see it together here. Let's bring this up. Here we go. All right, so it's going to be Fabian Zetterlund, Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson on the right side. This is his first game back of the season. David Perron, Dylan Cousins, Michael Amadio, Ridley Gregg, Shane Pinto, Claude Giroux, and then, of course, in the fourth line there, Lars Eller centering it, Nick Cousins, and Olli Lykesell. I believe that's what it is there. So, I mean, when you look at this, I think immediately I'm going to look at is probably the Fabian Zetterlund props. Tim Stützle is going to have to step up in a big way. Drake Batherson, first game back, no pressure for him. First game back for him, and you got some big shoes to fill because you know what? No Brady Tkachuk means you got to really do a good job of, filling these shoes immediately. Like Batherson doesn't really get an opportunity to ease his way into the game. There's no way he really gets a chance to do that. You can't ease your way into the game or into the season when Brady Tkachuk is out. And they're coming off a loss against the Nashville Predators. They just really won't be happy about it, if we're being honest. Like, they will not be happy with it. So take a look at the odds here, guys. We'll get some of this stuff away here. Looking at the odds for tomorrow as we scroll over, we're seeing Ottawa minus 120, 125 around the average prices in this one here. And when I look at this, I'll tell you what, guys, this is a spot here where I just cannot back the Buffalo Sabres until they win a game. That's how I feel. Like, this is a team that cannot be backed until we see them win a game. Until we see what they're capable of producing, they're not worth backing. But I'll tell you what, guys, I mean, the total, we've seen 5.5s, we've seen 6. I even saw some people saying they'd see a 6.5 there. I think that the move here in this one is to probably bet the over, because people and players rally around when their star player gets injured, and people will step up for the Ottawa Senators. They will step up. And they gave up a ton of goals against the Nashville Predators. They've given up goals this season against teams like Tampa as well. So defensively, it hasn't been the greatest start for this Ottawa Senators team. And I think Buffalo, they've gone so many games without scoring, guys, that they're going to have to do everything they can to just get back in the on the score sheet. And maybe it means they have to sacrifice some defense for some offense. So early leans for me would be overs in that one. But I think more than anything, guys, as I mentioned, you look at the Ottawa sheet here, and I think you take some props on some guys like Fabian Zetterlund. You look at some shot props on guys like Drake Batherson. Maybe you go down the list to a guy like Ridley Gregg or Shane Pinto. People are going to step up with Brady Tkachuk being out. You got to try and find who's going to do that. We'll take a look at it, and I'll try and mention it on Puck Time tomorrow as well as I dig deeper. But at the end of the day, guys, this is a Buffalo team. And what's really weird is that we keep getting prices in these Buffalo Sabres games that are really confusing. Like, their price against the Boston Bruins was like minus 105. It was close to pick. And they were on the road, and some of these games they've had have been very close. And against the Avalanche, the odds weren't nearly as big as I thought they would be on the Avalanche. So I don't know if the books think that this Sabres team is supposed to be better than they are, but who knows? What's up, Charles? Appreciate you being in here. Let's go, Caps. What a victory, and Habs. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. Comeback victory for the Washington Capitals. And then after the Montreal Canadiens were winning the whole game, then gave up the lead, winning and then giving up the lead. Then they gave up their lead and they went behind. Then they get the win. So, Charles, thanks for being here. Charles says, I'm afraid of Buffalo. Are you afraid they can win? Like, are you afraid they're going to have their first good performance? I'm not really sure. Jimbo, you were bang on with Leafs coming out on fire on that first. Yeah, look, they did win the full game. There goes my phone out of my pocket, of course. They did win the full game. They did cover the puck line, hit all the team totals. They did all that. But at the end of the day, this first period at plus 130 was a no-doubter. 2-0 after the first period. That sense of urgency was there, and I really, really liked that. So appreciate that, Charles. Afraid it's a donation. Yeah, that's the thing. At the end of the day, if the Buffalo Sabres win, I truly believe this. If the Buffalo Sabres win, here's the thing. If the Buffalo Sabres win, I think that if the Buffalo Sabres win, then they're going to have to score some goals. Because the funny thing is, they've actually gotten some good goaltender performances already. I mean, they only gave up 3 goals against the Bruins. They gave up 3 goals against the Avalanche. They played all right. And their offense just didn't show up either. So who knows what's going to happen there. Cash, yeah, Morgan Riley, huge letdown. But the funny thing, if he would have had that empty net goal, it would have been the second shot. So, Leon, what plays did you have tonight? What plays were you following? Hopefully get you back in the win column. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's look at the next one. Panthers, Red Wings. We've got Florida. They had the same matchup back-to-back games. And it's always interesting, guys, when you look at, especially early in the season, playing the same team twice in a short period of time. I used to say that if the first game went under, second game I'd look over. Well, if you did that strategy, you would have won, but it was back-to-back empty net goals for Philadelphia. So we can't really say it was really much of an over and a bad defensive game out of Florida. So if you're looking at the score, remember, it was 2 empty net goals for Philadelphia. So it's not like it was anything too crazy for them. Florida lost 5-2 to Philadelphia. They had turnovers, and Coach Paul Marie said that their puck movement was not good whatsoever. They weren't managing the puck very well. Red Wings, they looked pretty good in their last 2 games. And this is one thing I'll worry about here, guys, in this one. Florida looked good to start the season off. Then they have kind of a hiccup against the Philadelphia Flyers. One thing I'd worry about is that the Detroit Red Wings did not look good against the Montreal Canadiens. They looked flat as can be. They did not look good. They just didn't have the chemistry there. They were stumbling over pucks. They weren't tracking very well on their own end. And then of course the Red Wings, the coach absolutely blasts them, says like all this stuff about them. They weren't ready. They weren't playing well. The fans were booing them pretty much. And then they go ahead and win 2 straight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The first one they deserved, and the second one they were outshot something along the lines of like 45-15. So when you think of that, it's kind of like, okay, did they deserve to win both those games? Not really sure. But I think that, guys, whether it's early in the season or it's late in the season or it's midway point of the season, I think it's fair to say that teams get up for some games more than they get up for others. And I think that the Detroit Red Wings, obviously they wanted to bounce back off those losses to Montreal, or the loss to Montreal, but they get pumped up to play the Maple Leafs. There's no denying that. There's no denying it. Yeah, he doesn't like the first period bets. Yeah, Prez gave me credit on Twitter. No, he respects it. I think he liked the Leafs as well today. So that first period was nice. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm sure you guys can all relate here with this, and everybody watching. When you hit some bets like the Leafs first period puck line, I had the Washington Capitals. You don't even think about the ones you hit. You just think about the ones you didn't hit. You know, like Morgan Riley prop, Demidov prop. Some of these props that I'm just not happy with, and last time I checked, my Vegas bet's not going very well either. So it is what it is. Hopefully for you guys that are tuning in afterwards, have a little more success than me. But I just want to take this time before I keep going here, guys, to let you know again that we're live 10 p.m. Eastern every single night on the Pre-Scout. This is my show. I'm Andrew McInnis from WagerTalk. You can get all of my picks at wt.buzz/am. You can follow me on Twitter at McInnis Picks. You see it right below you on the screen, or below me, I should say. And I'm also on a show with Carmine. And you guys should know this if you're watching WagerTalk. But if you do not, we are live 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. So you can catch me 11 a.m. You can also catch me 10 p.m. every single night. So just wanted to mention that, guys. And of course, you can get all my picks, including a 7-day, 30-day, or one full season package available. And for those of you guys that have joined me on that full season package, really appreciate you guys bringing that up. What's up, Adam? What do y'all think about Calgary versus Utah? You know, that's the next one right there. Look, Mammoth, Dave, look, this is going to be unbelievable for them. They're going to get super fired up at the Delta Center. I think the crowd's going to play a huge role. I think they're going to do very well at home here. And this is going to be back-to-back for this Calgary team. Devin Cooley will start for them back-to-back. He's taking the second half of the back-to-back after Wolf starts against Vegas. So that'll be kind of interesting to look at there. And I think this is going to be a really good chance for Utah to get it going. Now, when you look at Utah, I want to pull up something here, their lineup. When you look across their lineup, they created a ton of chances in their last game. And when I saw their game against the Blackhawks and I looked at some of those scores, I was shocked because I could not believe it. I mean, no score in the first period, outscored 1-0 in the second period, and 2-1 in the third. I'll tell you what, guys, this to me, especially being at home, especially looking at how they opened up their season with 3 straight road games, I know that home openers have not necessarily gone well for every single team. All right. Montreal did it tonight. There's been a handful of teams that have won their home openers. I think this is the opportunity where you go ahead and you take a look at the Seattle Kraken. The number was relatively similar. The last game for them as it is for now. Maybe not as bad, as crazy. But this, guys, is one of those ones where we're going to circle this as our first period bet of the show on the Pre-Scout. When I was looking at this, I looked at some of the numbers and I looked at Natural Stat Trick, which is something that I love to use. If you look at the expected goals against, like Calgary is just relying on goaltending dating back to last year. Like some of their goaltenders absolutely stand on their head. And when you hear about Dustin Wolf and you hear about the guys and how much they make a big difference, I get it. But at the same time, you know, you can't consistently rely on your goaltending helping you out. And as much as I'm on Vegas on Tuesday night, and I know for you guys that are watching afterwards, you're going to already know what the score is. But if Calgary has a good game, especially, and they have to travel, and then they're going to play a team playing their home opener, I think it's a really good opportunity to get the job done. So looking for tomorrow, looking at Devin Cooley's numbers here. Yeah, this would be his first NHL start since April 2024. Funny enough, also against Calgary. So, I mean, what do we really know about him here? 2023, 2024. He had 2 wins, 3 losses, an overtime loss, a 4.98 goals against average, a 0.870 save percentage. Yeah, guys, I mean, his last game he played, now he plays for in Calgary. His last game he played in the NHL was against Calgary. He gave up 5 goals, 18 saves. He had a minus 2.63 goals saved above average. The game before that, he played against the Oilers. Now, guys, remember, this is 2024 season. The game before that, he played against the Oilers. He gave up 8 goals and 14 saves, and he had a minus 5.73 goals saved above average. So, yeah, we're not really making the case for this guy here. Then he had 2 wins below that. So, yeah, this guy hasn't looked great. So, you guys heard it. I'm telling you, this will probably end up being a client play. And this is kind of similar. This is the exact same number. If you guys remember, those of you guys that are watching my show every night, this is the exact same number we had on the Maple Leafs for this bet last night, like pretty much 24 hours ago. I'm getting deja vu here. It's the exact same bet. And I just think it sets up really well. You know, I'm a big situational bettor. I like looking at certain spots like that. And just so you guys know, like I'm prepping, I'm going to have some information for you guys ready, but I'm also going to be doing some research live on the show with you. You know, Modern Sports Betting says, have you made your plays for Wednesday yet? No. I've got a couple leans that I like, a couple thoughts, a couple things I like more than others. And sometimes if I do have a big 4% or 5% play, it'll be the only thing that I don't mention on here. But we're going to handicap together here, guys. We're going to go over things together. Thanks for Toronto first period. No problem. Let's try and do it again with this Utah one. Modern Sports Betting. Let me know. Comment below. Are you running it back with me with Utah minus a half goal? Guys, get in the comments. Let me know if you're watching on Twitter, watching on YouTube. Let me know if you are going to be on this play with me. Minus a half goal, first period, plus 114. I think it's a good play here, guys. I don't know if you went over Buffalo. I know they're down bad, but any chance at home for an upset? Adam, the thing is that I have taken them already this season, and I get it. They played the Avalanche in their last game, but at the end of the day, I think this is a team that you just don't want any part of until they win. Adam, I think the way to go with the Buffalo Sabres is betting the over. You know, the Senators, maybe they will lock things down because they haven't been playing that well defensively themselves, but something tells me that we're going to see the Sabres unleash their offense. But it doesn't give me that feeling of confidence enough to want to back them to win the game. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. The weird thing is about it, the fact is, it's not even like we're getting good prices on them. That's the weird thing, guys. Like the sports books are telling you, hey, look, this game should be relatively close. The odds are relatively even here. It's like, do they not know who Buffalo really is? Like, there's players literally throwing there's fans throwing their jerseys on the ice in Buffalo, and the season just started. That's how bad they've been. Ottawa loses their captain, their top player. I feel like they could rally around that and produce. So maybe Adam look towards some goals, maybe team total for Buffalo. You're a better man than me if you have it in you to take the money line. It's kind of like, and here's the deal. Like, I'll be completely honest with you guys every night. This is about accountability here with this show. Like that first period over I had with the Rangers today, the second I bet it, I'm just like, you know what? This Rangers team hasn't scored a goal at home, and now they've gone 3 straight games without scoring at home, and I was trying to go against that trend, so that's tough. Jimbo, always appreciate the inside energy. Give me information I usually don't access. I use your info and also my knowledge to me. Yeah, that's it. Single bets, the odd parlay, and just chime in if you have anything. Again, guys, I'm going to be handicapping on here with you. I might go live during some games if you guys are ever down for that as well, and kind of just talk about live spots as well. WagerTalk, shout out to WagerTalk. Really appreciate it. They gave me the reins. They gave me the ability to go live on this show. I'm a night owl, and the funny thing is I'm in the far east time zone. So when I tell you guys the show starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, it starts at 11 p.m. my time. A lot of people don't even know this time zone. This is east of East. I am 11 p.m. Eastern, or 11 p.m. Currently it's 11:30 where I am. So I'm a night owl, though. I'd rather do work at night than do work early morning. And you guys know how it is with capping. You got to be ahead of it. So here we go. JW, Rangers were supposed to show out, which tells me they have issues. Yeah, exactly. Like, people were confident in the Rangers. I think they're slow. They're lacking offensive ability right now. It seemed like a lot of people had futures on the Rangers this year, and I was kind of wondering why. Let's not forget, too, the Metropolitan's just been weak over the past handful of years. It's why, like, the Carolina Hurricanes always look good, and then they lose in the playoffs in the second round every year. Charles, me too. I'd be at work right now. LOL. Yeah. Yeah, man. The night owls, just up at night here. But Timothy says, I'm on it. Utah -0.5 first period. Let's go, guys. Let me know what price. You got the same price, Timothy? -0.5 is a pretty good number there. So I like that. All right, guys, keeping it going. Blackhawks, Blues. This is kind of like momentum versus a bounce back here. St. Louis swept their Western Canada road swing. 5 goals in their last game. Chicago, they had a rough start to their season. 3-1 win over Utah, though, which is the game that we just talked about, where they got the job done, where some of the numbers might not have looked like they deserved to dominate that game. They did get some good goaltending, and you're going to get that from Chicago every now and then. You're going to get that. They've got a good goaltender now. They got some young guys that are playing pretty well right now. But yeah, this Blues team, I mean, if you guys are a fan of the situational spots, and this is the thing, it's early, so it's hard for us to really talk situational hockey. You guys know what it is. Like, I am a situational guy, but the Blues, I mean, they open up their season by losing 5-0. They go on the road, 4-2 win over the Flames, 5-2 win over the Canucks. You got to think they're feeling good about themselves, but more importantly, they've found their offense. But let's go back over here to odds logic. Let's bring it up, because I always want to look at the live odds and look at some of these different numbers here for this one, because this, I think, is important here, guys, to look at when it comes to this, as we can bring it up here. No, let's go back to this. How about this? There we go. All right. Let's see if I can get this zoomed in. Shout out to Dan, because it's tough not having a producer here, guys. I'll tell you that. It's tough being on your own here with this. Chicago, St. Louis. So -223. Now, here's the deal. Some people will tell you that wins come in pairs for bad teams, like the Chicago Blackhawks. But the way I look at it is this. They're a team that are going to have to win some games by putting goals up on the board. Like, I know they've got a good goalie now and stuff, and St. Louis has good goaltending as well. But they played a Vancouver team that was struggling to score. They played a Flames team that doesn't have the best offense by any means. You got a Chicago, a young team that does have some offensive capability, that's off a win, should be feeling pretty good about themselves. St. Louis comes home after a little small 2-game swing. I think, guys, if you're playing Chicago, you play the first period. All right? I think that's where you look. And I think that if you want to bet the first period over, that could be a look as well with this one. Chicago is fantastic with their first period overs here. And we saw a scoreless first period in their last game. So maybe we do see something come to life. And St. Louis has found their offense. So that's been pretty good as well. But, guys, I think this one could see some goals. I think we could see St. Louis take Chicago a bit lightly. Chicago feel pretty good about it. But when I look at these, I mean, the Florida-Detroit game, I kind of skimmed through it here. I think we go back to the under in that game. Like, maybe I'll look towards Detroit team total under in that one. If we're trying to find an underdog for tomorrow, guys, it could be Chicago, which could be the underdog. We got 4 games. There's got to be one underdog on that board. There's got to be. But I think Chicago could be it. Does Buffalo get their first win of the season? I mean, geez, the odds are kind of weird, minus 115, 120 for Ottawa. Why are they that small against the Buffalo team that's been absolutely horrible? Well, I guess it's only been just a couple games here, guys. But maybe something like that in that Florida-Detroit game. Let me try and pull up what the odds are actually for this bet that I'm looking at before I get out of here, guys. I want to get you guys this one here. Let's try and find it. Because you guys know I love the team totals. Love the team totals. And sure, we could see Detroit feeling confident a little bit. But yeah, see, this is the price that I like here. Detroit team total under 2.5, guys. If Florida is a response team like we know they are, if they're a good defensive team like we know they can be, I know Florida is not at home. They don't get the last change, but Detroit got dominated against the Maple Leafs and still won a game. The game before that, they deserved it. But the game before that against Montreal, their offense didn't look very good whatsoever. So something to look at. What's up, Ken? I'm tailing that Utah first period -0.5, plus 126 on Caesars. Yeah, I'll be shopping around for the best number because Maple Leafs, I woke up today and played that plus 130, and it was plus 115 last night. So we'll see. Power play Vegas. Yeah, I'm holding hope, Jimbo, but it's not looking great. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then yeah, I saw a comment about the time zone. It is weird with games starting at like 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. It is very weird. So guys, of course, you all know WagerTalk.com, wt.buzz/am. That's where you can find all of my picks. This is the pre-scout breaking down the NHL slate. wt.buzz/am. Go get my best bets. Go get my picks. And I'll tell you what, right now I have a really, really good deal with the Prez. And if you guys want my package with him, or you want to just get my stuff, because I know some of you guys want to just get my stuff for longer term, you can go to wt.buzz/am, sign up for a 30-day NHL package, or DM me on Twitter, and I'll set you up with a really good deal because we're going to throw in CFL plus an extended NHL deal. CFL going towards the playoffs, going towards the end of the season. We'll get you guys a couple plays on the house in the CFL Canadian football. But guys, I got to dive deeper into this card. It's kind of an interesting one. We're going to look at some props. Hopefully it's a good props bounce back day because it was not a good props day for me. But guys, tomorrow, Senators, Buffalo, let's get some goals. I think potentially early on we could get some goals in that one. And I think that Utah play is really good. -0.5 goal first period, plus 115. We'll try and rock with that one. Chicago, we'll see if they can win the first period. We'll see what Chicago can do. Might be a good props play. Looking at Donato or looking at some of those guys. Frank Nazar, he didn't hit for me last time. And one thing I've learned from people that are good with the props like Andy Lang, if you miss on a guy, don't let him get away from you. Go back to it again. Maybe if tomorrow Frank Nazar, I'll go back to him. But I'll keep looking. And guys, tomorrow night's going to be a real big night. I'm real pumped tomorrow because we're going to have a bunch of games on Thursday to handicap and to go over. So kind of an abbreviated show, just some leans and different things like that to look at. I'll make sure I have a bunch of picks for you guys tomorrow. But guys, comment below what you are betting for Wednesday's slate. We'll try and get some positive comments here and just really appreciate all of you guys supporting my new show. It means the world to me, and we're going to try and cash some tickets all winter, all spring long, right into the playoffs, and hopefully have a ton of success while we're doing so. So leave a like on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and make sure you are here with me live 10 p.m. Eastern every single weekday. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time.